Hello everyone, welcome back to Daughters of the King. I'm Kathryn Gore. Thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight I want to talk to you about a message that I gave my church last night in regards to dealing with loneliness. I think it's important for you all to hear some of the things that I mentioned. It's a long message, so I can't get everything out, but hopefully I can get enough out to stress the point that loneliness is a spirit. All right. So, I want to talk about what I found in research, and I want to give you a spiritual perspective as well. Now, in research, I found an article that's written by Kendra Cherry, and it's titled Loneliness, Causes and Health Consequences. Now, the word consequences is always a result to someone's action. So there's health consequences to someone who is dealing with a spirit of loneliness. And I'm going to tell you it's a spirit because that's what it is. We'll get into that as I go forth and read some of this stuff. Now, in this article, Kendra wrote, while common definitions of loneliness describe it as a state of solitude or being alone, loneliness is actually a state of mind. Loneliness causes people to feel empty, alone, and unwanted. People who are lonely often crave for human contact, but their state of mind makes it more difficult to form connections with others. I looked up the word state of mind because I'm a person that needs to go deep. You know, I like to go to the root of things. So state of mind is a person's emotional state. In other words, a person's mood and the effect that mood has on one's or on a person's thinking and behavior. So it's a mood and the effect that mood has put on a person's thinking and behavior. Now, another word or another phrase for state of mind is frame of mind. I remember hearing that when I was young. I remember saying that when I was young. A person's in the wrong frame of mind. And so I looked up the frame of mind phrase, and it says that a frame of mind is a person's mental attitude. So, me being who I am, God works with me in different ways. The word frame stood out, and me being a person who loves to design, interior designing, to me, when I saw a frame, I said, okay, God, I use a frame to hold photos, to hold pictures. And I started thinking, there's something there with this. Let me look up the word frame. So when I looked up the word frame, it says frame is a rigid structure that surrounds and encloses something such as a door or window. And I said, okay, God, okay. I know rigid is like a no nonsense type thing. It's hard for a person to bend or compromise. So I looked up the word rigid. And rigid, sure enough, is stiff, hard, firm. It's unable to bend or be forced out of shape. It's not flexible. It's not able to change or adapt. It's fixed or set. Are y'all following what I'm getting ready to share with you? Let me tell you this. Is it possible for one's thoughts to be fixed on the negative, framing, which is a rigid structure that surrounds or encloses, framing those negative thoughts in one's mind, allowing for the spirit of loneliness to come in through the window or door of your soul? Frame is a rigid structure that surrounds or encloses something such as a door or a window. In deliverance, we talk about these things, and we'll say close every door to the enemy. And we know in deliverance that the enemy could come through any opening, the window, the walls, the door, anything that's open, right? So it started to make sense to me. And what I realized was this. The spirit of loneliness frames a story in your mind, and it surrounds and encloses your negative thoughts, making you feel sad, alone, isolated, unloved, and unwanted. It puts you into a state of depression because of your rigid structure that has been created in the mind by your thoughts and attitude based off of life's circumstances. Does this make sense? Here's the crazy part. You start to believe that story that's been framed like a photo. Okay? You start to believe that story. It's like a picture in your mind, a framed photo, and that's all you see. And because that's all you see, that's all you feel. That's all you feel. Therefore, you start to agree with those thoughts. And those thoughts make you feel horrible. It's a trap. It's a trap from the enemy. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. There's research where loneliness causes premature death. Premature death. So much. Let me share this with you. I have a number here. There was a report that gave an analysis. It's called Murphy's report. Murphy's report cites a meta-analysis that found that the risk of premature death due to loneliness increased by 26% and 29% due to social isolation. Social isolation. Furthermore, the lack of social connection can increase the risk of anxiety, depression, stroke, heart disease, and dementia. This is absolutely insane. This is an assignment from the pit of hell. Premature death is a person dying before their time. You tell me if that's not demonic. You understand why I'm telling you it's a spirit? It starts off with the state of mind that you're in. And then a spirit of loneliness comes in to confirm how you feel based off of your thoughts. They connect together. And that spirit of loneliness is just sitting right there saying, hello. Nobody loves you. Hello. Nobody cares. And you start to carry such bondage. You enter into depression. Let's talk about depression, because depression is real and people don't even understand why. Let's talk about depression. Depression is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feelings of sadness and loss of interest. It affects how you feel, think, and behave, and leads you to a variety of emotional and physical problems. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Do you understand what I'm telling you? This is a serious attack right now. Depression is a mood disorder. Let me tell you what a disorder is. It's considered to be a disruption to the body's normal function and structure. So you know what this means. A disorder is abnormal. That's what it's considered to be. Meaning, it was never supposed to be from the very beginning a certain way. So here's an example when you go to the doctor because your body feels, you know something's wrong. You feel it. You get tests ran. Sure enough, the test comes back. The doctor said this is abnormal. Further research needs to be done. in regards to what we need to find about how this abnormality occurred. So, do you think people who fight the spirit of loneliness can come out and say they feel, do you think that that spirit is going to tell them that? No, they're going to act out in a behavior that gives them, I don't even, I just lost the word, because they're going to act out. They're going to be quiet possibly, or they're going to go away. I'm telling you, it brings isolation, and it makes you feel you're all by yourself. And this is where the enemy plays the most, because you don't ever want to be isolated. You don't ever want to be isolated, because that devil knows when he puts you in a corner by yourself, you don't have no one to knock on the door of your mind and say, hey, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you? Why are you in here in the dark? Why you don't have no lights on? You know, why are you not going to work? Why it look like you didn't shave, comb your hair? No. What's going on with you, ma'am, sir? No. An isolated thing is really the worst place you can be, because your thought life takes control. And because you're already sick and mentally, and let me say this, I shouldn't say the word sick, because in research, loneliness is not considered a mental illness, thank God. It is considered to be a psychological thing, but it's not a mental illness. So let me take that word sick back. But when your thought pattern is so rigid to the point where it's hard to break out of that pattern of negative thoughts, it's just, your mind just goes around over and over and over. And where does your spirit go? Down, down, down. Here's depression. Here's suicidal thoughts. You just feel horrible. This is why this is a plan from the enemy, because it's a thing that is meant to take you out. Now, a disorder could be defined as I hope I talked about disorder. 1 second, I got excited, y'all. Yes. So a disorder can be defined as a set of problems which result in causing significant difficulty, distress, impairment, and or suffering in a person's daily life. So think about this. Earlier I said a disorder is a dysfunction a disorder is a disruption to the body's normal function. So a disorder could be defined as a set of problems, which we all have. Nobody's going to escape from this, which results in causing significant difficulty, which many of us face in life. You suffer in life. Distress. Yes, you have all types of distress. You have to learn how to combat this type of stuff that life throws your way. And see, the enemy really comes to try to take a person out before they even acknowledge that there's a way of escape, which there is, which hopefully we can get to tonight. But yeah, so the devil doesn't play fair, y'all. I'm telling y'all, you know, if you are struggling with lonely thoughts, loneliness, come out of that frame of mind. Close that door to the window of your soul and say, no, no, no. Somebody loves me, and if they don't, I know God does. And God's not going to leave me out here on the island all by myself. The devil is a liar. God has been with me whether I want to believe it or not, because I'm still here. I'm still breathing. Come on, y'all. Come on. Don't let this spirit of loneliness take you out, because that's what it's designed to do. It's supposed to break you down in such a way where you're off, staring off in the corner somewhere. You can't even blink your eyes because you're just in a daze, thinking, coping with all of the hurt, pain, rejection, all of that crazy stuff. And your soul is being fed poison behind the spirit of loneliness. It's a something that is just sent from the pit. Now, earlier, I talked about depression, and I said depression affects how you feel, think, and behave. So what does this mean? This affects your very soul. The spirit of loneliness affects your very soul. Your soul is made up of your mind, will, and emotions. This is what this is attack is on your soul, your very being. Okay? So why do you think scriptures tell us to love God with all of our heart, mind, soul, will, and strength? Because if we ever get to the point where we love God with our entire being, there will be no access to that devil at all. We will become a weapon that devil just cannot. He will poke. He will try to prod in. He will try to break a door open. But guess what? He can't get far at all. Because for one, you will know your Father well enough to say, devil, I see you. I recognize you. Because you're so in love with God. You're so in love with God that you understand his purpose and his plan. You can feel his love, his goodness all around you. And you can recognize when darkness is trying to come in and creep in. And you can say, something ain't right over here. Don't go no further. Don't go no further. So, let me see where I could go from here. Let's talk about loneliness versus solitude. Should I talk about that? Yeah, let's talk about that, because some people get this twisted where if God say, I'm calling you alone, people will be like, oh my God, God wants me to be alone. Yeah, he doesn't want you to be alone by yourself per se, because if God calls you alone, which is nothing wrong with that at all, he wants to spend time with you. So you're never alone. This is why this is a trick from the enemy. But let's talk about this. Research clearly shows that loneliness and isolation are bad for both mental and physical health. Being alone is not the same as being lonely. Listen to this, y'all. In fact, solitude actually has a number of important mental health benefits, including allowing people to better focus and recharge. I don't know about y'all, but you need a balance. You need to be around people. You need to be able to be happy, filled with joy. You need to be able to fellowship with other people, but then you also need to withdraw yourself and get yourself recharged, regroup, refocused on whatever it needs, whatever you need to focus on, so you could go ahead and move forward, stay healthy, stay focused on the right things. Okay. Now, loneliness is marked by feelings of isolation despite wanting social connections. I want y'all to listen to this. It is often perceived as involuntary separation, meaning you didn't leave, somebody else did. You didn't tell a person to leave, they left on their own. So here comes the rejection and the abandonment by other people, which plays all up in here. Y'all know people come and go in people's lives. Y'all make relationships. We all make relationships with people. And then we recognize that, wow, I feel some type of way because they ain't really my friend. Do we have to really go there? Y'all know people come into people's lives for a season. It could be a long season. It could be a short season. It could be a season that God would allow for one or two good people to come into your life forever. But we don't have to take it personal when people leave. Now, I say that, and it's easier said than done, because we get connected to people and we start to realize sometimes the enemy gets in there and he does his dirt and somebody's left hurt. This is where you need to know you love God more than you love that relationship. And it's okay. you'll heal. God has an answer for that. See, this is why I love God, because God makes a way of escape from everything. Everything. So let's talk about solitude. Solitude is the opposite of loneliness, because solitude is a voluntary thing, which means you absolutely need to separate yourself from people so you can have the right state of mind. It's a healthy balance, right? People who enjoy spending time with themselves continue to maintain positive social relationships that they can return to when they crave connection. That should be normal. That's healthy. They still spend time with others, but these interactions are balanced with periods of time alone. Solitude is totally acceptable, y'all. It's a good balance that we all need to practice. Now, there's so much more that I want to talk about. You can gain chronic loneliness. And chronic loneliness is a profound aloneness from being involuntarily isolated from meaningful relationships for a long period of time. You may be around others, but still feel like you are on the island off on your own. So, again, this involuntary isolation, you could be so close to someone and that person leaves. Now you feel so lost, because sometimes you enter into a soul tie. Soul tie could be good or bad, but you enter into a soul tie, y'all share so much together, and now that person is gone, whether it was by their choice or death, something like that, and you don't know what to do because a part of you feels like you've died. This starts to be a chronic loneliness, and it's hard for you to shake it. Now, I'm running out of time, but I want you to understand the signs of chronic loneliness are lack of affection and warmth, low mood and energy, cognitive decline, sleep problems, weight problems such as excessive weight gain, lack of physical activity, poor physical health, pain in joints and body, impulse control problems such as shopping, marathoning TV shows or movies. These are signs that you have chronic loneliness. Unhealthy diet, substance abuse, negative thinking and anxiousness, depressive symptoms such as unhappiness and pessimism, feelings of worthlessness and abandonment. That last one, feelings of worthlessness and abandonment, is a real thing. You really start to, you could carry a spirit of worthlessness. It's called a spirit of unworthiness and a spirit of abandonment. That right there is really hard to break off of a person, because a lot of times you have to go back to where that abandonment started. And if the Spirit of the Lord doesn't show you where, when that abandonment came in, it's hard for a person to even understand that this is what's going on with them, because these things creep into a person's body so subtle. That devil is so crafty. I can't stand him. I can't stand him. Let me give y'all hope, though. It's so much in this message. It's so much in this message. Real quick. Loneliness can be contagious. This is research. One study suggests that loneliness may actually be contagious. Research has found that non-lonely people who spend time with lonely people are more likely to develop feelings of loneliness. This is a real thing. This is spiritual. This is spiritual. Now, the spirit of loneliness is not from God. I don't care what nobody says. The devil is a liar. God is always with us. So you tell me, ma'am, sir, what's really the truth here? The devil is a liar, right? There's good news, okay? Because the spirit of loneliness comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Think about that premature death that I talked about earlier. But God wants to come to save, give life. God comes to restore our soul. This is a soul attack. God wants to heal. He wants to do all these things. Why? Because he loves us. Now, I got some great points from R.C. Blakes, who is a gentleman I recently found when I started to do research on the spirit of loneliness. He shared great 6 points on how you can defeat. Here's the hope. The spirit of loneliness. Number 1, nurture your fellowship with God. It's impossible for you to be in the presence of God and be or feel lonely. It's impossible for you to be in the presence of God and feel lonely. Loneliness is a feeling that this whole thing is based off of emotions, but it's a spirit that comes in to confirm this is how you really feel, and this is real. So nurture means care for and encourage the growth of development, Nurture means care for and encourage the growth or development of. So make sure you work on your relationship with God. That's number 1. Nurture your fellowship with God. Take care of your relationship with God. Honor him, love him, adore him. Let him pour back into you so you can become one. And that devil can't come in to destroy your life. Number 2, I would like to read these scriptures, but I can't. Number 2, focus on the calling or vision that God has placed into your spirit. Stay busy, okay? That's what that's all about. We have too much downtime, y'all. We leave too much room to think about the negative. We have to stay busy, busy, busy. Busy people don't focus on the absence of a person who has left them. Set goals. Work towards those goals. Stop focusing on those who left you or who you think should be in your life. Stay focused on the opportunities that are there before you. Number 3, manage your thoughts. We must learn to think about what we are thinking about, meaning we have to learn these triggers. So when your thought, you may have a thought, you could be as happy as you want to be, and then the thought comes and it messes your whole day up. You didn't ask for that thought to come, it's the devil. So therefore, the devil's trying to steal your joy. So you have to have knowledge of when to cut that thought off. You have to be mindful and think about what you're thinking about. So you can say, devil, no, I'm good. I'm not there anymore. You can't come and control my thought life. Okay? That's number 3. Manage your thoughts. If you don't, you can end up in a state of depression and be suicidal, possibly take your life, premature death. I want y'all to really get this because this is real. Number 4, make laughter a must. I know that sounds strange, but that's a real thing, y'all. Choose not to be depressed. Make laughter a priority in your life. Find reasons to laugh. It's so much, y'all. It's so much silly stuff that goes on. You can either get mad or you can get upset, or you can start laughing and have it be entertaining to you. Okay? It's so much that you can laugh about. So, laughter is good for the soul. It's medicine to the soul. So, let's practice that. Make laughter a must. Number 5, create intentional social encounters. What does this mean? Make friends. Start speaking to people. Hi, how are you? Here's one thing that R.C. Blake said that I thought was really cool. He said, change your personality on purpose. This is why he said it. He said, many of you don't want to admit this, but many of you are alone by choice. You choose to be alone due to being fearful or of having interactions with other people. You have to break this. You don't get friends with your mouth closed and no smile on your face. Change your personality on purpose. And he also said this, which is really interesting. People are always interested in people who are interested in them. Think about that. People are always interested in people who are interested in them. Last one. And y'all, this is a big one. Big one. And I'm saying this because a lot of people don't want to do this. Live to serve others. I know. Don't cut it off yet. Don't cut it off. Just stay with me real quick. Many don't want to do this. They only care about themselves, okay? They only care about their problems, how they feel. Woe is me. Oh my God, I don't care about nobody else. But you have to stop that, because let me tell you, when you start to serve other people, who got problems? Not you. Not you, in the way that you'll have problems, but not in the way that's going to take you out and isolate you and make you feel low as the earth. No ma'am, no sir. You will be focused on other people's needs, other people's wants. And while you're doing that, God is blessing you in the background. So who has time to live in sorrow? Who has time to live in isolation and loneliness? Not you, because you're thinking about someone else. Boom. So much more here, but I can't read it all because I'm out of time. Think about this, y'all. If you're fighting loneliness, it's a spirit. You've got to come out of agreement, and it starts here. First of all, you have to know who you are, and first of all, you have to know who you are in God. Let me say that. You have to combat that enemy and say, I don't think so. I'm loved by God. And you have to start believing that. Stop believing the lies of the enemy. Because once you open that door to that devil's voice, he going to tell you all kind of stuff. And you can have a heart attack. Memory loss, dementia, just comes in and just takes your whole mind out. This is such a destructive type thing that the enemy has sent on so many people. And he's working towards the youth. Don't let your children, y'all start praying, start pulling them to the side, asking them how they feel. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. Don't let the devil take your children. Don't let the devil take you. I will see y'all for more next week. Think about this. Do research on your own about the spirit of loneliness and see what God shows you. All right. If y'all need this message, hit me up and I'll send a copy to you through Messenger so you can get my message and the notes that I had for the full package. All right. Love y'all. Be safe, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.